Hey guys, welcome to Life as Sash Knows It. I hope you are having a good day so far, whether you're listening to this in the morning, the evening, the night. I hope you're good. I hope you're okay. I may be outing myself. Let me try again. I may be outing myself. I didn't post an episode last week. And I felt really guilty about it actually. But I just had a lot going on and I just wasn't able to do it. And the thing with these episodes is I don't want to just feel like I'm throwing out content for no reason. I want to make sure that I'm happy with the content and I'm proud of the content because at the end of the day this is for you guys. And so yeah, I do deeply apologize and I will promise that I will try not to let it happen again. And we are back after I'll say a week's hiatus. Not that it was intentional, but yeah. But in case you guys wanted a bit of a nosy into what I've been up to, I have got a new haircut. If you're watching, I don't know if it's obvious. I basically got the dead ends trimmed off, and I got layers. So I have a little bit of a fringe. So I currently have a headband in, because I can't even have my two front pieces out like I would normally. I'm pretty sure in the last episode I did have like that hairstyle and it's my favorite hairstyle. And when I try to do it now, it looks like I got a botched haircut. It does not look like it's supposed to be there, but when the hair's all put together, in terms of like my hair's all down, you can see the layers in it. But when it's just those two front out, it generally looks like I cut my hair wrong. But I promise you, it's all, it's fine. I did have to get it cut a little bit more than expected, but it needed to happen because I had, I had really bad split ends. It'd been like over a year since I had my hair cut, and it needed to happen. I actually got a helix piercing on my left ear, which I'm really excited about because I got it on a whim. After I got my hair cut, I was in my local shopping centre and I was like, damn, do you know what? I want this piercing. I've seen this place does. They did that deal where it was like a free piercing if you pay for the stud. And I was like, yeah, sure. And it actually came with the cleansing spray as well. I was like, sign me up. So I did it, and then I soon regretted it when I realised that I couldn't sleep on that side. And I'm a very much a top and turner. I love to go between sides, and I couldn't do that. My boyfriend did say to me, he was like, "Do you regret it?" I was like, "No." Just wait till it heals. And actually, I think it has now. I think I can slightly lay on it, but obviously, I'm not trying to shake it too much. I'm not trying to re-tear. But yeah, those are, I would say, the life updates. Nothing else massive has happened. I feel like those were like fun things for me because, like I said, I hadn't had my hair cut in over a year, and I felt all new and nice and shiny. And the piercing was fun because like I said, I'm not someone who is spontaneous in terms of doing things on a whim all the time. In terms of like going out and stuff on a whim, potentially, but like a piercing or a tattoo or like I usually like a book it in type of person. So that was a very big growth for me. But before I ramble on and we're sat here talking about my ears and my hair, let's get started on today's episode. So, today we're going to be talking about things I need to hear. And the reason why I felt like this would be a really good topic is because I feel like I constantly give advice, and I would say it's pretty good advice, I would hope. And sometimes I will give this advice and be like, yeah, no, like this is how I think maybe this situation should be handled, or way I should look at things, or the way other people can look at things. And then I'll be in that situation myself and almost forget. So for me, I know personally, if I'm going through a certain situation, I love to listen to a podcast episode about it from people. I usually listen to Emma Chamberlain's podcast, Anything Goes, which I'm really sad about because she's taking a podcast break and she doesn't know how long it's going to be. I'm like, oh my gosh, so I am actually going through her old episodes that I haven't necessarily seen because she'd been doing it for about 4 years, I think she said. But yeah, and those things will kind of almost be a little pick me up. So I thought, what a great idea for me to bring topics of things that I think that I commonly forget, that other people might also commonly forget, and need that bit of, need that little reminder of things are okay. This is what we need to be doing more of. This is what we need to remember. This is what we could do. This is the advice. You could also ignore my advice. Look, it's completely up to you. But like I said, I do think I give pretty good advice. So I've kind of split it up into different things of advice I've given or advice that I need to start taking personally. And hopefully, I mean, maybe you guys resonate with this, because I do feel like these are quite, I've kept it quite broad. So, and I do think a lot of people could relate to them. So the first one is, not every situation requires the same amount of energy. So I definitely overthink a lot. I feel like I have so many things spiraling in my mind, and it can honestly be so draining and take up so much mental space. And sometimes the things that I'm overthinking really don't require it. They don't need my energy, my time, my mental space, my mental capacity, because the more that they take up, the more drained, the more exhausted, the more overwhelmed, the more tired I feel. And that is something that I struggle with a lot. And I just think that I overthink so many different situations. So, for example, at work, I might have. Sometimes I'm tired. It's natural to be tired at work, and I'll be having conversations with some of my colleagues, and naturally, I guess the tiredness is showing a little bit. And my worst fear is that they think that I am not interested in the conversation, that I don't want to speak to them, that I'm not interested in engaging with them, which at the end of the day is a little bit silly, because okay, yes, it's very, I want people to feel valued within a conversation, but some of these conversations are like, hey, you're right, yeah, I'm good. Oh, what time are you working till? Oh, I'm working till now. What about you? Da da da. And I'm just like, it wasn't like, it's not like these people are giving me their life story in these conversations. They're not telling me some sort of stress or their personal problems. It is literally just common workplace chat. And there's me being like, oh my gosh, do they think that I didn't want to talk to them? Did I look tired? Because I have been told that I kind of have a resting face. Like, sometimes I just look miserable, even though I'm completely fine. And I'm like, oh my gosh, did my face look miserable? Like, do they think that I didn't want to? And it's just like, there's so many other things I have to be thinking about. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even going to list them. Let's just say there are a lot of things that I could be thinking about, but I'm here worrying over workplace conversation. That's just an example. There's so many other like little things that I overthink, and it's like, for example, if there was a time where a colleague was telling me something personal, and I kind of seemed a bit tired in that conversation, it's very easily fixable. I just apologize. I actually did this the other day. I was having a conversation with a colleague, and they were telling me about a position they were going for, and I felt that in that conversation I seemed uninterested and not really encouraging. And the reason why I felt that way was because I was overtired, I wasn't having the best day, and I felt like they were coming to me all excited about it, and I just wasn't giving that energy. And I honestly, I was really overthinking this, because I was like, oh my gosh, I wasn't in work for a few days. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want them to think I don't care. Like, I do, and I'm really happy for them. So the next time I saw them, I just went up to them and said, look, I'm really, really sorry if I came across in a way that it felt like I didn't care or I wasn't bothered. I said, I'm really happy for you, and this is going to be really amazing, and you're going to do well, and all that kind of stuff. And they were like, oh, thank you. And that was it. But I was actually stressed about that for, I must have been like the 2 days, I think it was. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to like apologize. But they didn't even read it like that. I guess that would be an example of, yes, I guess that could take a bit more of my energy, because I don't want that person to feel disheartened because I didn't show like I cared or that I was bothered. But at the same time, did I really need to stress about that for 2 days? Absolutely not. And that then took up mental capacity for me. And it was literally a 2-second conversation after I apologized. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, and it was fine. and everything was fine. So I feel like those are just something that I need to get over. Is I don't need to be giving so much energy, so much mental capacity to everything that happens in my life, because at some point I feel like it's that like breaking point where I'm burnt out, I'm tired, I don't want to talk to anyone, I don't want to interact with anyone. I just, because I'm just overthinking, I'm just like, I literally can't do this anymore. And I don't want to be that. I consider myself to be someone who is quite energetic, quite chatty, and loves to socialize. But because I'm overthinking in my like downtime, in my quiet time, I then can't be that person because I'm just so tired. I'm so exhausted, and I'm like, oh, I just don't want to talk to anyone today. I just want to, and I'm not normally like that. I feel like I love having conversations with people at work because honestly, that's what gets me through the work shift. But yeah, and so let's move on to the next one because then I'm going to start overthinking about that and over talking about that. So the next one is break down everything that is on your mind so it's less overwhelming. I am bad at this. I'm so bad. So I actually got this advice from Emma Chamberlain's podcast. She was talking about how she would write down whatever's stressing her, whatever issues it are, whatever things she needed to do. And then she would write notes next to it being like how to solve that issue, how to figure it out. And I didn't write what I was going to do to solve those issues because for me personally, I just needed to put that stress, put that kind of energy on a page. So I got my journal and I wrote down, I think about maybe like 10 things on it. Yeah, like maybe like 10 things on it that was bothering me, that was just on my mind and just spiraling. So I'll give you an example for one. So one of them was how frequently I was applying to jobs. So I feel like I've unintentionally had a bit of a step back from applying to jobs, which is not what I wanted to do, just because of the capacity of things that I was doing, seeing friends, seeing family, seeing my boyfriend, juggling work, juggling like lots of different things. Another thing for me was my room. So it's relatively done, but I still have bags of clothes that are for winter or I'm not going to wear or just don't have a space in the furniture I have now. And I feel like my room kind of being half done feels like my brain is in this half done state where there's always something to do. And my mum said that your room is typically a reflection of your mind. So if your room's a mess, typically your mind's a bit of a mess. And honestly, my room's not messy, but some things don't really have its place. There's not particularly organized. Some things are, some things aren't, which I think is honestly such a great reflection of what I'm going through right now. There are things in my life that are sectioned into its place. They know where it is. That's done. That's dusted. Cool. But there are still things that I need to figure out, that I need to organize, that I need to do. And it's currently feel like it's at a stop sign. And I've kind of put it to the side and it's just always there, not getting completed. So, for example, one of the things I did after I wrote down the notes of my room being one of the things, I was like, right, let's get going. Because whenever my boyfriend stays, my room gets messy naturally because obviously he has his stuff, I have my stuff, and a lot of the time we're just chilling. So I'm not really going around tidying up after like myself or whatever. And I was like, right, I keep stuffing things in these drawers. I keep just collating this table with a bunch of mess. I need to reorganize, rechange, refresh everything. So I changed my bed sheets so they are green. I reorganized some of the drawers. I put things away in storage. I put things in my car to take to the charity shop. So I did a little bit of organizing, and genuinely afterwards I felt so much better because yes, my room isn't 100% complete. However, I'm ordering, I don't know if you guys have seen, they're like if you're on Book Talk especially, it's the metal trolley, and it's 3 tiers and it's on wheels, and people typically put their books on there. So I'm going to order one when I get paid. I'm ordering one for my arts and crafts because I have a lot of arts and craft bits that don't have a place, and it's currently in, I think one's in an Esda. Oh my gosh. One's in an Asda carrier bag. One's, I don't even know what bag it is. These are like my mum's shopping bags, by the way, that she's been wanting back, but that's where they are. So I want to order one of those. I'm also ordering some more under the bed storage to put the clothes in, because I think that's one of the main issues is that I have all these clothes and right now they're in bags and I've got the space to put them under my bed. So that's what I plan on doing. And even just by writing it down, I felt that already I was like ready to tackle it. And it made me feel lighter almost once writing it down, because instead of it just being like, I need to do this, I need to do that, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I actually knew what I needed to do, and I knew what issues or problems or things that were bothering me in my head were, rather than them just circling my mind, and then it's almost like they're coming in and out of my brain, sort of thing. And at times when I'm stressed, I'm like, okay, I'm stressed about this. Oh my gosh, but I also need to do that when I get home, and I need to do this, and oh my gosh, I forgot, I've got this next week, and it was just this reoccurring nightmare, honestly. So thank you, Emma, for giving that advice, because it genuinely helped me, and I hope that it helps you guys. Honestly, do it, do it, because you will feel lighter for it. No, not necessarily you're going to write it down and your problem's going to be solved, but I feel that if you write down what your issues are or whatever's going on for you that's bothering you, you can maybe think of a solution quicker, kind of like brainstorming. So for example, like I said, my room being undone, and I was like, right, okay, what needs to actually be done in my room? Okay, well, let me reorganize the stuff that I have to fix it up now. What could I, and as I was cleaning, I was like, oh my gosh, I can order that 3-tier trolley. Oh my gosh, I can order that under the bed storage, which are things that I actually wanted to do but forgot, because then I'm juggling all the other stuff that's going through my mind. And I found that it was so much more helpful to kind of see it in front of me, because I very much feel like I'm a practical person, a practical skills person, and it almost felt like having it in front of me was like, right, okay, I've got this, I'm going to do this, rather than just letting these things sit in my mind. So I genuinely feel that that is something that I'm going to keep doing, because I feel like, yeah, my brain was clearer, I was more proactive, and I felt a little bit less stressed. Don't get me wrong, the situations haven't all completely eliminated themselves, but my room is almost at, it's like a process, but it's at the process of being soon enough complete. Because for those of you, I mean, you guys won't know this, but all the people who are close to me, well, this room has kind of been a work in progress since March. It is now, well, it's going to be August. Well, actually, no, when this comes out, it will be August. So it's been what, March, April, May, June, July, August, 5 months. And all the while, it is in a good place. There's still some things that need to be done. But I'm not going to bother you guys about my room anymore, because I'm sure you don't want to hear it, or you're not bothered about it. But that's just one of the things that I wanted to tell you about. So, another thing that I feel that is something that I think is also done a lot in friendships as well, is talking about the same thing. So I actually spoke about this on my TikTok. If you want to go and check that out, it's at that news girl. And on my TikTok, I was basically discussing how repeatedly talking about the same conversation isn't always the best. It's not always the solution to things. So, for example, me and my friend, we have been friends for nearly 10 years, I believe. She knows me very well. She knows, so we do confide in each other a lot. And we are definitely guilty of talking about the same situation over and over again. Or if there's something happened to me, or there's a certain situation that I didn't like, I will usually tell her about it. And it's obviously very common when two people care about each other for them to be like, what? I can't believe they said that to you. That's so out of order. Or what? Like, and then be more angry than you was initially. Not that anyone's in the wrong, but that kind of amps you up a little bit. And you're like, yeah, actually, yeah, you know what? That was really out of order. Why did I even let that slide? And sometimes I think that's good. But having the one conversation or just talking about things to get them off your chest is healthy, but to do it over and over and over again can just leave you feeling frustrated, annoyed, and almost reliving those same emotions. So let's say someone had a go at me at work and I'm like, hey girl, I was just at work and this girl was having a go at me and she was screaming at me and da 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 da. And my friend's like, yeah, that's so annoying. Like, are you okay? Like, what the heck? That's so mean and all that kind of stuff. Then, like, 2 weeks later, oh, do you remember when that girl said all that to me? And it's like, yeah, she was so out of order. And then it's like all the emotions I felt that I probably had processed happen again. Do not get me wrong, when I'm in my 30s and I've got me and my friends, I've got our kids and we're sitting and we're chatting about the old days, that I'm living for that. But I mean the fact of situations that maybe upset you, maybe frustrated you, rehatching those conversations or bringing them up again, sometimes it just like frustrates me, and then I almost feel as annoyed, as bothered by it as I was the first time we had the conversation. And I think that sometimes we just need to stop beating a dead horse because it just takes up way too much capacity. And honestly, a lot of the time, the situations don't even deserve the energy of the time of day. They don't deserve it because I don't know, let's say for example you falling out with someone and you and your best friend know this person and you are talking about the situation and you're talking about it again and again and again, and eventually it gets to a point where you're still as annoyed as you was months ago. And I think sometimes it's good to have those conversations. Obviously, if you're still feeling some type of way, if you're still upset about the situation, absolutely, you know what, go for it, because communicating is so much better than keeping those feelings inside. But if you're just talking and you're like, oh my gosh, remember that time, and sometimes it's fine, it's fun to have a little chat and a catch up with your friend and talk about old situations, but it can feel tiresome to be reliving those situations by bringing them up. And me and my friend actually have stopped doing it because in the best way, there are so much more important things to be investing our time into, and the things that we talk about into, especially as a young adults, we don't even see each other that often, so we want to make sure we're making the most out of our time and not having conversations that are going to leave us feeling drained and just tired and overwhelmed and just like, oh my gosh, what was that, so I think that is something that it is difficult, because I guess you kind of have to gauge. It's very heavily dependent on the situation. Because, like I said, it's very, very good to communicate how you're feeling. But if you're kind of over it, or it was like a while ago and it's not really something you thought about much, and you're just kind of with your friend, oh my gosh, remember that time. And then you're left feeling more annoyed or just bothered by it, then it's probably time to bury that hatchet, to stop talking about it. And even if your friend maybe brings it up, maybe just say to them, hey, I just rather not talk about that. It's so draining. Like, let's talk about something else. And I'm sure your friend will be like, yeah, you're so right. Let's just talk about something else. If they don't, and I say, yeah, no, let's talk about it, then, guys, like, I don't know. I can't imagine that being a situation, but I would hope that your friends would just respect that you don't want to discuss it and just make sure that you're communicating that, because they probably feel the same. And I'm sure there's much more to talk about. But that's why I'm saying, when I'm 30 and my kids and I've got my little glass of wine, for context, I don't like wine right now. I've tried, guys. I really have. It's just not for me. Don't enjoy it. I don't really drink, to be honest, so I don't know why I thought I would. But I've always imagined, I always say to people, imagine me and my besties and with our kids, our little mini-me's running around, our husbands maybe, like, just on the barbecue and us in our evenings drinking our glasses of wine, talking about the old days, then I feel like I'd be okay to talk about those situations without it being like, oh my gosh, like, and it bothering me all over again. Or maybe I won't be over it. Who knows? I'll get back to you guys when I'm in my 30s, and hopefully that is the life that I will be living. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is to stop oversharing. This is definitely something I struggle with. I literally overshare probably on this podcast, and I don't even realize it. I think that I think I open up a lot to people, to new people, to old people, and some people wouldn't discuss things with people or not talk about things, whereas I feel like I'm very much an open book. There is very little I won't talk about. Usually, the things I move away from discussing is things that would affect other people. So, for example, my relationship. I don't intend on going into it. I don't really want to talk about it. That's kind of one of my boundaries because it's personal to me and I want to respect my partner. And that's something for me that I won't really discuss unless it's like, oh, me and my boyfriend are going to this place, or we're going on holiday, or I'm going to see my boyfriend's family. Like, things like that are different, but our actual like personal stuff that are just between me and him, I keep to myself because that's our relationship and it's not something I want other people to know about. But in terms of, like, for example, my diabetes, some diabetics are quite personal about their experiences, about what they're going through. And I'm not saying everyone, because a lot of the diabetics I know through Together Type 1, so that is, it's how do I explain it? So it's a bunch of volunteers who live with type 1 diabetes, and we help out with Diabetes UK. And a lot of us share our lived experiences with people online for their social media or healthcare professionals at events, and we're okay with that. But there are some of us, and there's some other diabetics who obviously I don't know, who personally don't like sharing their experiences. And some people might encounter me, like, I don't know how to say it, encounter me, and I'm like, yeah, like, my sugars have been really bad, or yeah, my control hasn't been great, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, Sasha's really opening up to me. And don't get me wrong, I don't, when I, there are certain situations where I won't be as an open book, or situations where I definitely am the kind of person who usually opens up with people that I feel like I've made a connection with. So, for example, there was this girl that I met when I was at my presenting gig. Amazing, amazing girl. If you're listening, I miss you. She was so nice, and we really just bonded, and we opened up to each other about a few things, obviously, which I'm not going to discuss. And some of the things that opened up to her, I probably wouldn't do to some of my work colleagues, and that is nothing against them. It's just, for example, when I'm at work, a lot of those conversations are very much work related, but there are some people at work that I do have a bit more of a connection with. And that's not to say I haven't connected with everybody. It just means me and that person have had a conversation where we've kind of crossed that bridge, almost, where I feel comfortable to be like, yeah, this is going on in my life, and they also feel free to share. But the way I'm speaking about this is, I think that sometimes there are certain people that don't deserve almost access to me, I guess. I feel like unfortunately, there are people who don't maybe always have the best intentions, and you oversharing or giving or spilling details about your life, sometimes they don't always have the best intention with that information. I don't think I've personally encountered this, or maybe I have, but there are people who might tell your personal information to other people or use your personal information against you. And I don't like talking about it because it's not something I would personally do, and I'd like to, and I know for a fact my friends wouldn't do it. But, and I don't even like to think of people like this, but I think we have to be honest with ourselves and know what information is okay to share, what we probably shouldn't. I mean, personally, with work, there are certain things I wouldn't share with people. But, for example, I think I actually spoke about this. One of my best friends, she doesn't work there anymore, but we bonded on the first day of our induction, and we slowly built a relationship very early on because we were seeing each other every day. We were chatting and we were actually texting as well. We got each other's numbers the first day we met, and then we went for coffee. And because there was a bit more of a relationship established, that's when oversharing didn't even exist. I can, and I did, and I still can tell her everything, absolutely everything, and I love that. However, there are some people that I do meet on a one-off. I might have met them at an event, or I might meet them at work and not see them, like, really. And sometimes I feel that I'm just yap, chatting, that I'm not really thinking about what I'm saying in terms of who I'm speaking to. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this person's so great. Let's just talk. I've actually got a top on that says professional yapper. It's my favourite top because I feel like it truly embodies me. It truly embodies how much I love to talk. So I think that sometimes I do really need to kind of just give it a second. Be like, okay, should I be sharing this? And I've actually gotten better at this, which is one of the reasons why I included it in the episode, because I feel this is something that I have been thinking about a lot, and something that I would love to have as myself. I'd love to keep as a reminder and even advice to you guys, because, I think it's really good to want to connect with people, want to share things with people, but I do think there's always a time and a place and the right and the wrong person to do said things with. So I always think that's just something that's worth thinking about. But guys, I do want to say the last one before I do have to love you and leave you. So the last one is, it's okay to rest. And I literally know this, but I'm so bad at it. So I was trying to rest majority of last week, but the whole time I just felt on edge because I'm like, oh, I know I've got to work this day, and I know I've got to do this day, and this day, and this day, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that, and oh my gosh, I forgot about this, and this is how, and it's like, geez, Sasha, to be fair, I feel like I just overwhelmed myself just by saying all of that, and I was just like, all of this stuff is going on, and it's so draining that when I do have time to myself, I almost don't feel relaxed. Like, I don't feel like I took time for myself. So, for example, I love reading. I think I might have mentioned this, but I'm currently reading Yes, I did. I'm reading Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I can check because the book's over there. And I will sit and try to read in the evenings, because I feel like in the evenings when it gets to... So my rule of thumb, and I actually did this at uni, was I stopped working after... Oh my gosh, I think it was after 9 p.m, which is actually kind of bad. Maybe it was 8. I think work stops at like 8/9 p.m. I don't answer emails. I don't study because I was at uni at the time. I just don't do work. I don't do anything that... I don't make content. I just chill, whether that's watching a film or doing something. And that break isn't necessarily, oh, I'm gonna stop working to eat. Like, eating should be around... I usually try to eat around 6. But I've just found it so difficult, and to be honest, I think I do it now because my work lifestyle is obviously a bit different. I'm not got exams and stuff like that. I try not to, honestly, I just try to do it in my spare time, which is one of the reasons why I needed to remind myself of this, because if I've got the free time and it's 9 p.m. and I'm just chilling, chances are I'll pull out my phone and edit a video, which isn't the best way. And this book has taken me so long to get through, because where I've been doing that and not giving myself that time in the evening, I find that I haven't gone to reach for it, because it gets to like 11 o'clock at night, I'm tired, I go to bed, and I'm like, damn, like, this book is good, but I haven't picked it up, and then I kind of fall out with it. I remember one thing that was always big to me was hobbies. Right now, I feel like definitely reading is my focus of my hobby. Like, that's what I enjoy the most. But I do think that, like, I do think that I would like to uptake my other hobbies. But because I never allow myself to rest, I literally don't have time. And I can definitely figure it out, but I'm quite stubborn with myself. And it just leaves me feel like, it leaves me, I just find myself overtired. And honestly, I feel so tired. I've been so tired in the recent days because I've not been giving myself that time, because I've not been allowing myself to breathe. And one thing I have to remind myself is I can't perform at my best if I don't take care of myself. And if I'm constantly beating myself up for taking that time to rest, then I'm also not going to feel any better, which is something that I keep doing. And I don't know if it's just because for example, I'm really passionate about my career. I'm very, very passionate about my planning my future, and always thinking about that. But sometimes, because I feel like I'm constantly planning for the next thing, I can never rest in the now, and I can never appreciate the now, and where my life is now, which in a way is also burning me out, because I'm just like, right, I've done this, what do I need to do next? What do I need to do next? It's not like, oh, okay, I've done this, let me just pick up a book and just chill for a bit, or just watch a film. And I just miss it. Like, I love sitting and watching a film. I actually watched Descendants. I was gonna say Winter Wonderland. It's not that. Oh my gosh, what's it called? Where is she from? Descendants, Wicked. Was it Wonderland? I think it is Wonderland. I don't know why. Let me check it. When I was thinking of Wonderland, I'm thinking of Christmas. Yeah, Descendants of Wicked Wonderland. I was thinking, why can I not remember this at all? Thank goodness. But that was almost, it was such a good film. I love it. I did love the Descendants films, but oddly, I know people like very much like, oh, hit or miss with the new films, but I really like the new Descendants. I think that they've done it really well. The dances are great, and it's different from the original, which I think needs to happen, because if it's just a copycat, then it's not really any point. And I'm actually really excited because I think it's Camp Rock 3, the new Camp Rock is coming out in August. And I can't remember, I think August 16th it said, which I'm also really looking forward to. And I'm definitely going to be taking out time to do that. Tomorrow, actually, I'm watching the new Spider-Man film with some of my church friends, which I'm super, super duper excited about. So I'm going to work and then watching that. And that will be my little break, my little refresh, because I honestly don't think that I truly rest unless I'm with my boyfriend, when we're just watching films, chilling, going to the cinema, maybe getting food. And I really value my own time, my own space. And I find that when I'm in it, I'm just stressing myself out all the time. And it's not working for me anymore. I need to fix that up. But yeah, I hope that helps. Guys, I really truly hope that you resonated with some of that, in terms of now that you feel a bit more motivated, in if you were experiencing any of those things, if you did any of those things or needed it as a reminder. I would definitely be listening back to this episode myself, because I'm definitely going to need these things as a reminder. But yeah, as always, guys, I truly enjoy speaking with you, and I truly hope that the things that I'm saying are helping you, and just helping you be your best self. If you aren't tired of my voice yet, you guys can actually follow me on TikTok at that news girl, or just type in Sasha Wiltshire, because it'll come up. My Instagram isn't much of me talking, but if you just want to see more of my beautiful face, you can follow me at Sasha Wiltshire on Instagram. And yeah, keep up with the at Life Sash Knows It on socials. So we're on TikTok and we're on Instagram. And if you didn't actually watch a video of this, I did put the video on Spotify, but if you want the proper YouTube experience, we're on YouTube. But thank you guys so much. After now I've done plugging myself, I just want to connect with you. I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions, and honestly know what you think about the episode, because I hope I'm helping, but I'd love to hear it from you guys. Anyway, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night, evening, morning, day, whatever you're doing, whatever time it is, and I can't wait to speak to you next week. Bye guys!